Hello, everyone. Hope all of you are keeping safe in this pandemic situation. I thank you for your presence and thrilled with the number of participants in the webinar today. Today's session is on Save Network Costs with SD-WAN or Software Defined WAN, which is hosted jointly by Spectra and Versa Networks. We appreciate your time. My name is Madhur Seth, and I am working as Head of Product Marketing Enterprise Managed Services at Spectra. I'll be handling this webinar today. Along with me, I have Abhishek Jain, Regional Director, APAC, Deepak Kumar, Solution Architect. Both of them are from Versa Networks, and both of them are the subject matter experts of SD-WAN. This session will be focused on capabilities of SD-WAN and how it can help in reducing the network cost, increase operational efficiencies, and the financial benefits. Before we start, let me take a couple of minutes to introduce Spectra. Though some of you might be already aware of Spectra, it is part of the Sham Group, which is providing products and solutions in the telecom space since last 4 decades. Beyond Spectra, the group owns VNL, which provides solar-powered GSM network solutions across the globe, and artificial intelligence-based thermal camera solutions for temperature and mass detection, which is one of the new need in the current situation. Other than this, the group also owns Yubico, which is into small cell solutions. Traditionally, Spectra is known for its internet services on an end-to-end optical fiber network, capable of delivering speeds up to 1 Gbps to every home and up to 10 Gbps to every businesses. Beyond our own 5,000 kilometer long fiber, we have presence in all the major cities in India, and Gurgaon is the headquarters and also hosts a 24/7 SOC. Besides the internet solutions, in the current situation when work from home is the new normal, we are providing a unique work from home solution to help our employees to get a better home office experience with advanced security, connectivity, and infra support under a single bill. Moreover, since the last couple of years, Spectra is also offering fully managed SD-WAN, LAN, and security solutions in partnership with Versa under the Network as a Services umbrella of Spectra on a pay-as-you-grow model. We feel proud to be associated with the brands like HDFC Life, Shubham Housing, Home Suites, and so on. At this point of time, I would like to get started with the webinar topic, and I'll invite the Versa team to take it from here. Over to you, Abhishek and team. Thank you. And I'm giving the control to you so that you can take the presentation ahead.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Madhur, for the introduction. And hi, everyone. I hope you are doing well. And as Madhur introduced me, my name is Abhishek Jain. I manage the country sales operations based out of Bangalore. Along with me today, I have Deepak Kumar, who is our solution architect. Will also be helping me in certain topics where he will be giving his expertise, his opinion or views about the solution. So from here, I just want to highlight, Madhur, I believe we have 1 hour. If you can give some housekeeping announcement.
Sure. So Abhishek, ideally we block 2 hours of everyone, but we got a lot of reward from people to keep it around an hour 15 minutes or so. So we have crafted our slides accordingly. So let's keep an hour for the session.
Sure, thank you. And so we will try to finish it in 15 minutes. And in case of any questions, you can type it on the chat, or we can also take it towards the end of the session. So with that, yeah, thanks, Madhur. So with that, I would like to start with today's agenda. As you might have seen, the agenda is save costs with secure SD-WAN. But I would say SD-WAN is just not talking about the saving the cost of for your infrastructure piece, but it also it's very important for us also to understand what are kind of pain areas you guys might have faced in your legacy infrastructure, or which is we have seen in more or less common across, irrespective of the vertical. Any organization might be facing in their existing or legacy infrastructure. So let's have a quick look at it. I'm sure most of the points will you guys will agree with me that these are certain areas if you have still not migrated to SD-WAN. These are certain challenges which I think in day-to-day network operations we face. So let's see what are these pain areas. The first in what we are seeing, I think most of you, I'm sure, have already started or you have already migrated even up to 50 or 70, 80% of your network, your applications which were maybe earlier hosted in a private cloud environment or maybe in a private data center. But I think we have seen, hybrid cloud strategy with public, with even data center hosted application. There are depending on your business use cases. So applications are getting hosted on multiple platforms. It can be public cloud, private cloud, or on even a private data center. And same way is the user. I'm sorry. And same way is the user base. Gone are the days where users have to are supposed to sit in the network in the branch or the physical presence. But I think I think some of the organization have shifted their 100% of the workforces to their home, and I think for next 1 or 2 years we know the situation currently when the people will start moving to their physical offices. So these kind of disruptions, are getting, the application performance or the for the users, are getting hampered, and we are seeing multiple challenges. When they browse from home or from anywhere, in the geography, they try to browse these applications. There are disruptions happening. Uh, Second, as we also see, since if there is a user sitting in office or any of the location, they have both personal traffic and also they have the business traffic. So this also makes certain challenges and brings down the productivity now for a user or maybe for the organization, as they have two different networks running or two different set of applications which are maybe non-critical and are also affecting your business applications. Third point, if you see the high, though you have invested already in high bandwidths, but still we see the critical applications are suffering. Typically, in a bank scenario, if you see, or maybe even in for example, in a hospital I go, and they allow both Wi-Fi for the users, and they also have the telemedicine applications running in the hospital environment. We have seen that because of the personal browsing or still that your critical application is still getting suffered, and there is a latency, there is a delay. That's another challenge what we see. You have invested because of the high availability in multiple internet circuits, depending on the persona of the branch or criticality of the branch. 2 links, 3 links, data center maybe 4 links. We have seen even 5, 6 links for some of the critical establishments. But what happens is typically you invest on multiple internet circuits just to manage the high availability. But what happens is it's an investment which your organization has done, but effective usage of the secondary circuits is actually very minimal. So the problem happens is, there is no, you are paying for the circuit, but still you are not able to utilize it effectively. And on top of that, there is no visibility what exactly, what kind of SLA my, internet provider is giving to me, or maybe what kind of usage pattern I'm seeing. Next in the line, if you see, larger the network, the complexity in the networks grows, or number of the devices you have to manage, the kind of infra team or to manage this kind of large infrastructure is very, very extensive. And we have generally seen it as all manual intervention for any kind of change management required, new configurations required, or troubleshooting to be required. You need to send a physical field support engineer to the site just to identify the root cause of a problem. Next in line, the larger the branch, as I mentioned, if you suppose want to refresh your complete routing infrastructure, or maybe a firewall infrastructure, there is a whole lot of time required just to do any kind of change management or even to configure new branches you want to make, for example, a typical bank branch, if they want to open up, there is a deadline which is given by RBI, and they just want to open up the branch in maybe stipulated 2 months of time, because if they delay it, their license got expired and it gets suspended. So from that perspective, also we see a lot of challenges, the long deployment timelines, prolonged timelines by in the legacy infrastructure. And the last but the most important piece we also see is, this for a certain applications or very critical applications, maybe which is running network, maybe can be a video conferencing or voice, and there's a certain spurt of requirement of the bandwidth comes up, and the users are complaining that my video call is not getting coming proper, and there is a lot of latency, or there are the SLAs are not are good for those critical applications. So that what happens is, because all these were manually configured, there was no application prioritization. So these kind of challenges we see very rampantly, in the legacy infrastructure. So what we see with these pain areas is, what are the new network requirements? What is the outlook? You should, we should have for when we talk about the new age IT infrastructure. So let's see from the previous slide, as we have seen those pain areas. So the first and most important piece is, how do I effectively utilize all my internet circuits in the network? So it should not happen. I will just give a typical scenario. Maybe it will help us in the future slides as well, so you can relate this use case. You in a typical branch, for example, or maybe in a call center, you are running just you are running maybe or in IT ATS scenario, you have 2 shifts running in from 9 to 6 p.m. and there is a 1 shift running in the evening time. What happens is, you have 2 internet circuits for a certain set of project, and for 2 internet circuits separately just for the BPO, which is maybe serving US clients or North America clients, for example. Now, what happens is, in the daytime, you are paying for for 1 internet circuit, which is primary, and secondary circuit is just redundant. And evening, for the different project altogether within the same physical environment, but because of the customer requirement, you have invested in again separate 2 internet circuits, and you are you are underutilizing those, because in the daytime they are not utilized, and evening only they get utilized. And again, that's a primary secondary concept. So the first is that you are not utilizing the secondary circuit effectively. Second thing is, even you have the time based, for example, in the daytime from 9 to 6, you see your ERP application is or call center application is required effectively, but after 6 o'clock, you see there is a requirement for the users to go to maybe certain public your private browsing, or maybe they have to post their certain daily details to a certain different application. So what happens is, when there is a certain spike, you are still on the primary, and your second internet circuit is totally underutilized. So you have to ensure those utilization of multiple circuits optimally should be there. Auto failover in case of any failure or brownout scenarios is also very important. Your business should still keep up and running, even in case of any link is down or any kind of brownout scenarios happen. The most important piece is application-based prioritization, as application define the network nowadays, and the business, depending on the business criticality, you need to ensure the application-based prioritization should be there. So for example, in a bank branch, the core banking application, for example, Pinnacle or or the Oracle core banking solution, should from 9 to 4 p.m. till the time my NFT RTGS time doesn't go out, should be my top priority application, depending on the bandwidth requirement what my application provider has told. So you have to ensure, this is my P1 application, this is my P2, P3 application, and accordingly the quality of service should be available, should be there in the new infrastructure. Application-centric policy configuration and visibility. This is as we are talking about the application-based network. So the most important piece also comes as how you effectively manage, the change management or configuration of this application-based network. And most importantly, you should have the complete visibility of the application, how's the performance of these applications, whether the SLAs are being met, whether the users are able to are able to access their application the way it is intended to, and the complete visibility from the right from the usage perspective to the uh, the performance perspective. The automation in the change management and configuration. This is again a very important piece, as we have seen. In any typical branch, as I mentioned earlier, you have number of hardware-defined devices. Maybe a router, switch, firewall, Wi-Fi, WAN optimization device, depending on the requirement of the branch. What happens is, in a typical legacy branch, you have multiple devices. You need multiple people or multiple skills to just manage those multiple devices in the remote branch location. Now, if you bring it everything, in a single UI or single dashboard, all these network security applications, and can manage or can configure remotely from a centralized location, is something brings a lot of cost effectiveness in your overall IT infrastructure spending and the operations spending as well. So this is something, automation in the configuration change management is very, very critical in today's world. And as we are also seeing, in the COVID times, even the field engineers are not able to visit the branch locations. How you still ensure that your branch is not getting affected because of engineer not going to the branch location. So if you have this visibility or the completely from a centralized location, or the change management from a single dashboard for all these network security applications, definitely it is going to bring a lot of it will reduce the dependency on the field support engineers. More and more proactive monitoring for reporting analytics. This typical example, a network operations guy, who's managing maybe 100 branches network, and typically, what happens is a user just puts a complaint. He's facing certain challenges on application browsing. It is maybe slow or it is not available. So the first thing a network operations guy do is, ping the local router, local devices, and ensure that devices are working. He will go to second thing. He might check with the application guy whether his application is performing well or not. It can be SaaS application, can be homegrown application, it can be any application or a business application. Third thing he might check is whether it's a user device problem itself, or maybe any piece in the network. So by the time he gets he identifies or the root cause of the problem, the event has already occurred, and still there is no there is no proactive diagnosis of the problem happens. So this is something you have to bring in your new network. You have to ensure proactive monitoring should be there. Yeah, the network should be self-sustained in terms of identifying as if there is a new as a problem is bound to arrive. So it has to be there has to be artificial intelligence on the analytics where it should identify, okay, this particular branch or this particular device is bound to fail over a period of time. So the health of the application, health of the infrastructure should be proactively monitored, and should be analysis should be done, for a period of time. Policy-based application performance. As I mentioned earlier as well. So it has to each and every application which is running in your network should be monitored, and should be also given priority based on their criticality. So application-based routing is the concept which I think every new IT infrastructure which is getting rolled out should be looked at. So I will say, I think the applications define the business, and so the priority of the application or the application-based routing is a new normal, which we see definitely in any new infrastructure should be deployed. So with these, as we see on the last slide, what are the what are the new requirements of the network? Now let's see how SD-WAN ensures these points can be taken care in any of the SD-WAN solution. These are some primary use cases which SD-WAN solves for these against any legacy traditional network. So the first most important piece is ROI and getting the utilization of the all the internet circuits which are running in a particular branch or across your network. So you can have all the links working as active. So that's where SD-WAN brings the benefit. The second important piece is the IPsec VPN-based solution, which should ensure that the security is not compromised, and the rotation of the keys has to be dynamic, so that even in case of any branch getting compromised, still your entire network is still up and running, and there is no breach to the network which is other than that branch which has got hacked or got compromised. A bank or any organization, as a matter of fact, run business critical applications, and it should also ensure it as even ensures that these critical applications are prioritized depending on their criticality, and also the business case use cases what has been defined. Centralized change management configuration is the as we have seen in the previous slide, for all the applications, for the any kind of architecture should be available from the centralized dashboard itself, and there is no need of sending a physical engineer to each of the branch location just to make any change management and devices. The complete visibility is given brings a visibility of the WAN, also the WAN in terms of application, also in terms of internet circuits, what you have in your across infrastructure from the WAN perspective. It also brings us the significant reduction in the day-to-day operation, as we saw, reducing the cost from the field support perspective, managing, reducing the number of devices from the branch devices perspective. If you have a router or a firewall, you can consolidate these multiple hardware-defined devices onto a single software-defined device, a single software-defined solution, obviously, which will bring a better TCO for your overall WAN infrastructure. And the most important piece is also how you ensure that your complex business requirements can be solved by templatizing your policies to ensure that all the business requirements can be maintained in a single template. Depending, for example, you have a again, let me go to a bank branch, and they have a branch. They have branches which only support loans, loan banking, and there are urban banking branches. They have their certain requirements, and there is a rural banking branch. Obviously, they have certain branches, and there is a head office or maybe a call center. So all these different branches have different set of you need to set different policies for the users, for the applications, and how the applications are going to browse. So all the network security application policies has to be configured. So you need to ensure that automation should be bring by templatizing these different branch personas. And also, in case of any change management required, or when any new branch comes up, you just pull up the template and push the policies, and all the respective branches, for example, in the urban banking branch, can be changed. The policy changes can happen just with a single click, instead of physically sending an engine to each of the location. So with these SD-WAN benefits, I will just try to bring Versa into the picture, and we'll try to give you very high level overview, how exactly Versa secure SD-WAN ensures that the SD-WAN capabilities which are intended by any organization should be should be available in the solution, and what extra benefits Versa secure SD-WAN brings it on the table for the customers. So the most important piece is the security improvements. As we have seen, in any legacy infrastructure, we have typically seen, for any kind of user browsing the applications, it has to go to a hub site, and hub has certain proxy devices, and proxies basically defines, okay, this user traffic should go to this intended hosted application, which can be in a private data center or it can be on a public cloud. So what happens is, if every traffic has to come to a hub location and proxy, you are actually defining latency into the network. Now, with SD-WAN and with Versa Secure SD-WAN, what the next thing comes is, instead of having this spoke, hub spoke, or whatever topology you're defining, everything, instead of bringing hub to the hub into your topology, why don't you look for a direct internet access? So the moment you talk about direct internet access, you can mitigate, you can come out of MPLS defined infrastructure. Second thing, you are also allowing users to directly directly access the internet bound applications. But at the same time, you are opening up the Pandora box of the threats which come with the direct internet access, because you are exposing your users or branches directly to the internet world. So you can have any kind of attacks which come up. So Versa thought from the day one, when we are talking about the new age WAN, software-defined WAN, security is going to play a major role. When customers are going to allow direct internet access, or they are migrating from their MPLS to different internet circuits or internet-bound internet circuits. So that's where Versa ensured that security posture should be part of the solution from day one. And when I mean about security posture, is not as a separate product or separate module. It is basically solution feature. So it's a single pane of software in Versa which covers all the network security application, which can be deployed on multiple platforms. It can be a hardware base, or it can be on a private cloud, on OpenStack environment, or it can be any public cloud. So Versa solution, or Versa branch network function, virtual network function, can be deployed in any kind of form factor, in a hardware based, in a public cloud, or in a private cloud environment. And with all these security enhancements to bring in into your network. Bandwidth optimization, as I mentioned earlier, so this is the most important piece, bringing the, ensuring that load balancing of the multiple internet circuits has to be there, and all the internet circuits should be effectively utilized. Basically, all the internet circuits should be active, and instead of bandwidth, internet circuit defining which IP-based routing, I will rather say it should be application-based routing. Simplifying the management by having centralized management, simplifying the WAN architecture, having everything managed from the centralized location brings more and more simplicity into the network. Automation capabilities, as I mentioned, Versa brings a lot of automation in terms of configuration, in terms of change management, in terms of visibility. Configuration change, as I mentioned, single dashboard with template-based approach. You have, as I mentioned, in a loan banking branch, or in a in a rural banking branch, you have certain templates defined. And instead of going manually to each of the branch location or doing the configuration change management, you can just go to the template and do the policy changes, whatever you intend to do from that perspective. And even from the change manager perspective, as I mentioned. So all these automation capabilities are available with Versa solution. And as I mentioned, for the SaaS applications, we can do, we can ensure the SaaS-based applications are more securely browsed, and also ensure the better SLAs for those applications. Centralized change and control management configuration. So we have, our architecture is very straightforward and very simplified. The change, all the configuration and control is in the centralized location, and branch devices talk to the head end or the orchestrator or analytics to do any kind of policies they have to, or any kind of traffic decisions they have to take at the branch location. So the centralized control and configuration comes with the solution. Service level improvements, as I mentioned, from the application perspective, or even from the internet circuits perspective, or even from the device SLA perspective, all improvements can be achieved by Versa solution. cost optimization, as I think I have already explained, reducing multiple devices to a single software-based solution. Application-based routing, or policy-based path and routing selection. So there is I will maybe quickly highlight one or two very unique features of Versa. Something like MOS-based path selection, mean and opinion scale path selection for voice and video traffic. So what happens is, typically any enterprise, we have seen 20 to 25% of the network is consumed by the your voice and video traffic itself. So what Versa do intelligently is we have intelligence in our software wherein we can identify if there's a voice and video call is running, and also how the quality of the call. So we see almost 50 plus codecs and define the mean opinion score. Okay, if suppose a threshold for anything below 3.5 out of 5, a call mean open score is below 3.5, it is not good for the, it is not termed as a good call. So you can define the policy that any call where the mean open score of the call is below 3.5, automatically it should have the other available path. So, and it happens dynamically. So in any of the spoke location or users are on a voice or video call, they will have a better performance on these voice and video applications running into your network. So this is just one example. We can similarly do for other critical applications as well. And so basically that's where the terminology of application-based routing comes into picture. Application level traffic management, deployment, flexibility, as I mentioned, bringing more and more automation. The most important piece in the overall this slide I will talk about is the multi-tenancy. So Versa is the most multi-tenant network architecture in terms of any enterprise would like to have in their network. So I will give a classic example. In any large enterprise who has multiple subsidiary companies, and they have different business units, or maybe subsidiary companies, or maybe a different business units. Each of the business unit or this different organization, you can term it as a tenant for the main tenant. Now each tenant has different requirements altogether, right from data plane perspective to control plane perspective, or even from a management perspective. So if you see, maybe a large banking group, they have, for example, an insurance company, and they have a core banking, and they also have securities, or e-trade of what they offer for their customers. But each of the requirement, from the physical branch perspective, for example, they have in a single physical location, but they have core banking guys sitting in the same branch. They also have securities guys sitting in the same branch, and they also have insurance guys sitting in the same branch physically. But if you see from the network infrastructure perspective, the requirement for the architecture is very different. Maybe the core banking is looking for anything should be spoke hub spoke topology. The management team is totally different. There is a NOC team, there is a SOC team. They want to ensure that there is a complete isolation of the management from the management plan perspective. Security team should not be able to see the network policies, and network team should not be able to see any security policies. So you need the complete isolation of these two different management perspective. From the control plane perspective, these three different networks, which is for core banking, insurance, or for securities, are totally different. So core banking is using spoke hub spoke topology, for example. The securities is using a spoke hub topology only. And if it is insurance, they might be using for certain applications. It is full mesh topology, or maybe partial mesh topology. Now, so from that perspective, again, but physically they are sitting in the same branch, but the topologies are totally different. And now from the data plane perspective, as I mentioned, in the same physical branch, these are three different set of users are sitting. Now, imagine from a single physical network, how you still ensure these three different tenants are served from the same, physical infrastructure. So this is something Versa brings it on the table. We can go 5 level of granularity in terms of from a multi-tenant, from a main tenant to multiple tenants, to further down, subtenants to subtenants. And that's way, we can go 5 layer down, and we can serve multiple tenants in a same physical infrastructure. And it is at every layer, not just for the data plane layer, which other OEMs talk about, VRF-based tenancy. But we just don't talk about only, data plane, but we talk about the control plane, and even at the management layer, we can do the multi-tenancy. We can support multi-tenancy. And the next in line is, as we can see, the analytics, I think, which is one of the heart of our solution. The kind of comprehensibility what we have in our analytics. The customers who have deployed believe us, they love our the reports what we are able to show it to them, right from the internet circuits to the to the application performance to the user productivity chart. All that can be configured or the customized based on the organization requirement, or the particular team requirement, or a tenant requirement, I will rather say in this way. So quickly, just to give you very high level, you might have heard SD-WAN, I'm sure, with multiple OEMs nowadays. But I just want to classify, there are 5 different types of OEMs typically we have seen in the network in our industry. So one is a router based, which we know, the most of the legacy players, who have, who maybe brought in the technology, either they have a hardware based solution or they have the software based solution. But nobody can give, both at the same time. Or maybe if suppose you ask them, no, I want a cloud hosted service, and I want, or a certain customer asks, okay, I want, for completely on-premise solution. So typically, these router-based OEMs, they are just trying to safeguard their existing deployments. But if you ask, is your solution comprehensive? Can it be integrated with all these multiple pieces of your solution? Maybe they might have a separate a router, they have a separate operating system. For WAN optimization, they have a separate operating system. For if you talk to them, okay, I want a firewall or the UTM capabilities on my network, then again they will pitch another piece of their solution. And all these are different silo products, which they will try to combine and offer you, as a WAN infrastructure solution. So these are typical, I think, we have seen these legacy companies who have been, even today, they talk about SD-WAN, but they will just talk about otherwise SD-WAN. If you want to talk about security, please have talk to my security specialist, and he will give you a separate product altogether, or separate hardware for that piece. Then there are some solutions which only talk about SD-WAN. There are some few companies, they have not innovated outside of just SD-WAN capability. Then third types of OEM we have seen is typically, which have evolved from their WAN optimization base. Typically, they started with an optimization, but as we know, WAN optimization itself is, the use case have got limited, and they are trying to safeguard their existence itself. So they have also tried to come into SD-WAN space. The fourth category of OEMs we have seen is the firewall based. I'm sure you might be knowing those OEMs, but again, typically they will talk about their security, or they will talk about SD-WAN. But if you talk to them, okay, how about the core routing? How about the WAN optimization piece? Believe me, again, they will follow that. Now, this is where secure SD-WAN player, or Versa is the only secure SD-WAN player, where I will say, which evolved just not from only for SD-WAN or security. We wanted to ensure that we are a fully integrated software system which can serve all these network security applications from a single pane of software. So you talk about security, you talk about routing, you talk about SD-WAN, you talk about WAN optimization. Anything in your network piece can be supported on Versa single pane of software. So this is something we have brought on the table, and that's why we say our story is just not SD-WAN, but we are much more, or a complete single solution, from any of your WAN requirement perspective. So for this slide, I will request my colleague Deepak to give a very high level, some of the key features, especially. So this covers all our stack, right from routing to WAN op, everything. Maybe Deepak, if you can take this slide quickly.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. So, hi everyone. So, as Abhishek discussed, about the Versa SD-WAN solution. So, this is our Versa stack with respect to the feature set. So, let me start from this deployment perspective from bottom to top. So, as you can see, we have the full flexibility in terms of the deployment. So we are totally like cloud agnostic, or with respect to transport, totally transport agnostic. So that means Versa software, Versa SD-WAN solution can be deployed either in a private cloud, or it can be any of the public cloud. Either it's a AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, or Alibaba.com, or it can be some private cloud, whether it is VMware, vCloud, or it can be some OpenStack. And apart from that, we support Versa branded hardware, or these white box or gray box, and as well as we are having some UCP functionality also for this traffic steering with third party hardware and all. Then as we discuss a very detail on the multi-tenancy, how we having this RBAC, or how we can enable the multi-tenants with different org can use single software with their branches, or as and with the segregation of the control plane and the data plane. Then with respect to our so here you can see in the orange color we are having these items in the roadmap. And let me start from these interface side. So we are having integrated Wi-Fi client. So no need to be do some kind of install some external Wi-Fi hardware. So we are having integrated Wi-Fi. Apart from that, we support all these features of this L2 technology, VLAN, QNQ, STP, or this bridge domain. And from the day one, we support this IPv6 feature, and for these fast converging BFD, IRB, and we also added this multicast feature in our release. So multicast also we support for this live TV, or we want to do some live streaming of the data. Then we are having the capability in our solution of UCP service chaining, and you can spin up the third party VNF also on the top of Versa hardware. Then apart from that, we in the security side, we are having a stateful firewall where you can use, or you can enable your policies with respect to your requirement. Then in this FAQ feature, fraud error correction, this is one of the best feature to enable. If you enable this kind of feature in your in production, so that is very helpful to recover the packet. So that is one of the unique solution we are having. Then we are having this cloning and stripping, or you can do this packet level cloning with the dual tendency or some resilience connectivity on your transport side. Then as we discuss in the template based approach, we are having this application based traffic engineering, where you can define this codec, or based on more scoring you can do the traffic steering. So as Abhishek discussed, like we are having this MOS scoring. So we capture, okay, on this particular link, I'm getting this MOS score, let's say 4, or if it's getting degrade less than 3, I will take some action on that. Then in the UTM side, we are having this IP reputation filtering, URL filtering, and captive portal. And also we are having this integration with this REST API, or if you have some internal tool, we support some REST API integration with the OS and the BSS. So we having all these features that. Apart from that, I would add for this deployment perspective, we support like multiple type of JTP for this provisioning. So in traditional way, if you want to be on board any of the route or any of the branch, you have to do manual changes, or you have to be do in the CLI configuration. But if you talk about the Versa solution, we are having a zero touch provisioning base, where it can be in single click you can activate, and you can push all these configuration in a single shot. So so we support all these agile methodology to deploy this as we discuss, like 1,000 of branch. If you have some target timeline to within a week or within a 10 days, we can do it. And as we discussed about the template based approach, and for the configuration NatCon different versions we support. So this is overall about the Versa stack. And yeah, and apart from this, there are more feature like this RAS and RAC. This is totally like due to this pandemic of COVID-19, we introduced one more feature, this RAS and RAC. So this is our WFA solution. So where the employee can do work, they can connect directly to the Versa gateways, and they can access their hosted application either on the cloud, or it can be some on-prem level.
Thank you, Deepak, for giving the insight about our stack. Yeah, you can post your questions. Just to remind again, on the chat, we will take all the questions towards the end of the session. So, I'm sorry. Yeah. So just to give you a very high level view, about what kind of customers we serve globally. As you can see, if you see this, though there's a busy slide, but just to give you the confidence, the kind of critical customers, or these are some of the lighthouse logos which we are serving. We are proud to support their infrastructures. Right from financial vertical to retail to e-commerce to high tech industry to manufacturing or even IT, ITS or government. So if you see at the top, some of the largest of the banks, we rely on Versa technology now, and where we talk about certain banks as good as 5,000 branch networks. They have migrating completely on Versa technology. In India, we can proudly say 6 out of top 10 brands, super brands in the country, are currently on Versa. I'm sure you can see the logos like SASE Bank, Axis Bank, Flipkart, Aditya Birla Group, Hindalco, or Infosys, or Sun Pharma in the pharma. Irrespective of the vertical, the Versa can support the use cases and all the pain areas we just discussed as a matter of fact. These are certain accolades and these certifications just to ensure that you have the confidence from the third-party analysts also. So Versa participates every year with the NSS Labs, which is regarded for their lab certifications, and they do very intensive testing for any of the claims of any of the OEMs which they propose. So Versa is again one of the only secure SD-WAN player which got recommended category approval, certificate from NSS Labs, right from next generation IPS for NGFW, or even a secure SD-WAN or SD-WAN with security. So all the three categories, what they have defined, or which we see is mandatory for secure SD-WAN offering, we have got the certification from NSS Labs. From the market share perspective, we are a number one secure SD-WAN player by Dell'Oro report, which got published just a couple of months back. And with the market share perspective, we are globally number 3 as on date, but we are heading up, with our current, the product outlook, we are definitely looking towards, even better market share. From the MEF 70 certification is predominantly looked by many large enterprises and service providers, wherein they want to basically customers want to have certain standardization in the technology. So MEF's Metro Ethernet Forum is the first to bring in the standardization in the SD-WAN technology, and MEF 70 is a certificate name. And Versa is one of the first OEM to get certified by MEF Metro Ethernet Forum to get from the standardization perspective. Gartner has also released, apart from MQ, Magic Quadrant, they also have the critical capability chart, wherein they have tested or they have given the ratings for all the known SD-WAN players based on their capability or different feature sets, right from SD-WAN to operation capability to the deployment flexibility to security. And these are certain parameters wherein Versa has scored highest. This report is very, very comprehensive, publicly available, or we can also share it with you guys to give you more confidence, what third-party analysts talk about Versa. This is just the same overview. This is how we look. As you can see, below one is the IPS, next generation IPS. Versa is the big, the orange logo. So we score highest with compared to any of the legacy, even security players. The security effectiveness of our IPS solution is one of the highest in the industry. This is from the next generation IPS perspective. Again, you can see we are the only pure play secure SD-WAN solution, which has given one of the best security effectiveness with lower lower TCO. So right side, it shows up, the crux of the overall report, wherein which OEM got the recommended and which what is the lowest TCO by each of the OEM to offer. So versus SASE, so this is where I think this is a terminology which which is brought by Gartner just a year back. Basically it's a secure access service edge capability, which Gartner termed is eventually any and every enterprise should look at when they are migrating to the new infrastructure. So basically it has a very high level. It has two major components in that solution piece. One is that the network as a service, or maybe, and the second is the network security as a service. So these two capabilities combining together and delivering secure access service edge. So if you see Versa solution offering, I'm sure you have seen our stack, the solution features. We have covered almost every solution piece which Gartner SASE talks about. And believe me, Gartner also tells that Versa is the only player who can talk about whatever they talk about the SASE capability, right? From anything from the network service perspective or from the security service perspective. So this is something we can go more in detail if you guys need more details about the Versa SASE capability. But we definitely strongly recommend for any of the customer who is looking for the migration from the legacy WAN, they should check out this SASE terminology by Gartner, and also have a look at evaluate the vendors based on the SASE requirements for the new infrastructure. So Versa Secure Access is our new solution, which we have just recently launched. I think Deepak just told in the feature slide. So this is basically secure access VPN capability, which we have recently launched for the home users, or maybe you can say the remote users accessing the corporate network from their home or from their remote locations. So this is something we found it very, very critical, as the COVID situation arrived, in the February-March timeframe, and Versa, we got multiple requests from our existing customers as well. I think you need to start including the work from home user and secure access capability in your solution. So in the record time, we brought this technology, and believe me, we already have a number of existing customers who have already started utilizing. They have extended the services that's not from SD-WAN, now also Versa Secure Access capability as well. Now, why we brought in this product or this solution on the table is obviously, as we know, the COVID situation. Some of the organizations have even shifted 100% of the employees from office to work from home. And I think we will be going to see this is going to be the new normal for at least for 1 or 2 years down the line, or maybe no matter it might be for the longer period. For permanently, they might shift their certain workforce to be work from home. Second thing is, in the solution, what they are looking at is, how rapidly we can migrate those users, to a company-wide to company-wide employees, or how fast we can effectively, scale. If suppose today we have, a certain 50% of employees, and tomorrow they want to migrate 80% of the employees. So the rapid deployment and scalability was one of the primary requirement of the solution. Ensuring that application experience should be very heavy. So this is where Versa is known for in our legacy SD-WAN solution offering. Wherein the application awareness is something we do it day in, day out for our customers. And the most important piece is also non-intrusion, of employee personal browsing versus the corporate applications what he's browsing or he or she is browsing from their from their devices, from wherever they are working. So these are 4 major components which we found that our customers asked. You have to ensure that these parameters are being checked, and the solution should be capable of handling these. Now, with here, I will request Deepak to give a little bit more insight about the solution, so that.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. So currently, I hope you already using some remote access VPN solution. So if you check in this diagram, so you can check the complexity how it is. So install any of the VPN solution in the traditional approach. You have some multiple integrated edge routers, then you are having some WAN aggregator routers, and then you are somehow you are putting this VPN extra. But and this is, it looks like very complex, and with respect to debug or for the capex and opex is very complex solution. So to keeping all these things in mind, so we came up with the Versa Secure Access, and where this is like again we launched with the single software capability where we can enable this VPN service, and that we can do some application segmentation and with respect to the installation. So in a single software or single hardware can, so let's say for example, you are having already Versa SD-WAN hub. That same hub can act as a VPN gateway, and apart from that, it can be hosted or the cloud managed or can be on-prem also. And for the with respect to application performance or segmentation or integration with your existing infrastructure. So with keeping all this in mind, we came up with our SASE solution. So let me move to the slide. Yeah. So, let me discuss about how it works. So, this is very simply and very agile to deployment. So, once you place the order for Versa Secure Access services, so we usually, configure some backend profiles of the users, and we send some emails with respect to their user information and where they can download the app. So, Versa app is available for the apps or for Windows, and is available on Apple iStore and all. It can be downloaded, it can be uh, ready to use. Then the user actually like for the security also, we are following again the Gartner SASE topology for this GTNA. So the user can be registered, and we can integrate with the existing AAA server or some LDAP server, or we can, if having some cloud-based authentication or some let's say some time-based access, let's say this Google Authenticator and all, we can do the integration. Then third step we are having, once we install this client and we register the user, then we usually push this configuration profile. So that means like the same approach, like in SD-WAN we are enabling the branches with the template. So here also we are providing the client profiles configuration from the backend. Then once the user received all this information, the user is ready to start the VPN. So in the diagram you can see, so in the first step the user will receive the email. In second step they need to register. In the third step they can we usually provide the access, and then user can create the through the internet the multiple gateways, and they can access their intranet or their hosted applications or their whatever, like we are having hosted environment. Yeah, so that is like about the application segmentation and breakout. So as we enable like end-to-end these in a secure manner, and our even the Versa VPN client is also a multi-tenant. So here you can say like this software can be installed on the Windows, or it can be on the Mac OS or on the mobile also. So for the app or for Windows, as the setup is available, and this is a very light software application. It's around 190 MB. So once the profile or user is registered, it can create the tunnel with this gateway. And again, we are having the option to the breakout. Yeah, again we are having the option to the breakout. So that means if any of the user want to do the breakout on the laptop level or on the client level, we can do that. That means the user, if they want to be access some Netflix or any of these YouTube or some social media application, they can access directly from the local breakout method. The second, we can do the second breakout for the SaaS application from this Versa Cloud Gateway. And this is also like as I told you, this is a single pane of software where it's having the all the Versa security feature set. So we can also enable all these security feature, antivirus, URL filtering, or application performance configuration as well. And once you connect this gateway, you so one thing is like you can access like this cloud hosted application. Second, if you have some your corporate or headquarter, you can extend to till that level. So that is a best use case for the cloud hosted. So some organization which is like using some platform as a service or SaaS based application approach. So they can do the breakout for the cloud level, or if they want to be access their hosted environment, so they can extend till this enterprise your router, or this is like on the last mile. So there is not a requirement. We can make the communication with the known SD-WAN device as well. That means with Cisco or some, if you are using some Cisco or some Fortinet, all we can make the some site to site tunnel or some VPN. We can access these resources. Yeah, in next slide, it looks like this is the overview of Versa Secure Client. So once this install on the laptop on the moment, it looks like that. So here you can see this is mainly this enterprise name, and where we can select the multiple gateways. So yeah, like instead of like a single gateway, user have the capability, or enterprise can like deploy in the across the globe. So that means if you want to be do some kind of solutioning, okay, you are having some your office in the US, so you can deploy one gateway in the US or in Europe region or some India region, or in the India also in the multiple regions. So like for South India, you can deploy one gateway. So multiple gateways you can select, and it's have the capability. So based on the performance, we usually send some probes to check the performance of the gateway. The user can connect to that particular gateway. That means if this, let's say, the India gateway is having it loaded and it's heavy utilized, so the user can connect automatically to the other gateway. So such kind of capability it's having. Then you can see this button for the click to connect. So once you connect with this gateway, so we are measuring this uptime of this particular client, and same things can be recorded on the dashboard. We can check this user, what the application the user is accessing, or which kind of who is the service provider of that particular user, or if with respect to the debug and all, we can see the all these logs on this our dashboard. Then it can be integrated with this your existing AAA, or if you have some LDAP, or if you want to be integrate for OTP and all, we support all these mechanism. And so yeah, so next is like you can do some registration and re-registration, and you can do the password, or you if you want to be do some with respect to technically IPsec profile changing, or some cipher suit, or for encryption. So all the features that we usually provide on the Versa secure access client. So majority, like in upcoming days, we are like pulling the SD-WAN functionality to this Versa secure access client. Then with this our secure access gateway, so you will get like perfect forward secrecy strong cipher. So that means is having the very securely connectivity mechanism of we support IKV2, different this algorithm you can select in the IPsec. Then it's having a native VPN client, so leveraging that. So mainly like we build this with respect to the window functionality of to connect to the VPN. We are using all this mechanism. Then we are having this enterprise grade authentication, as I told you. So you can integrate with your existing AAA or LDAP, or if you have some single sign, or if you want to be do some two-way factor authentication, so that is all possible. We can integrate, and we support all this functionality. Then we are having integrated security. So as I told you, this is the same software. We are, so as you already aware, like in the same software, you can enable firewall as a service, or you can enable this like as a stateful firewall UTM. In the same software on a gateway, you can enable this integrated security as well. So no need to be install any third-party device or any additional device for this solution. Then it's a one second. Yeah, then it's a integrated captive portal. That means you can integrate with the captive portal also. So when the user is accessing some application, it will ask some user password, or you did the different set of the functionality of captive portal you can enable. Then the seamless integration with the enterprise authentication. The same thing as I told you. So we have the capability. So to integrate with your Active Directory, either is a on-prem or is a Azure AD or some LDAP mechanism, we can easily integrate. So these all are the functionality. If you enable this Versa secure access, you can use all this functionality. Then we are having Versa white box and cloud gateway CSG hardware. Yeah. So here you can see, so Versa, like in last year, we came up with the Versa own branded hardware. And apart from that, we also support market white box solutions. For example, this LAN or Advantech and Dell. So with the different set of requirement of port density and all, we came up with the Versa branded hardware. We are having mainly like port density or these better security for encryption, decryption card set, and integrated Wi-Fi. So there was a mail after analyzing from the white box vendor, we came up with our own hardware solution. Yeah, so this is some Versa design CSG appliance. So Versa, as I told you, we keeping in mind with respect to port density or customer having the requirement for the integrated Wi-Fi or LT, and there were some requirements, some more than 6 ports or some SFP port combination, and having some GPS mechanism and all. We came up with our own CSG series. So we are having different models. So for the small branch unit, we are having the series of this CSG 350 and 730. So different throughput, you can check it out. I'm not covering this throughput part. So in this particular branch unit, we are having two series. One is like this 350 series. We are having different model 355, 365. Then similarly in 730 series, we are having this 730 with the LTE integrated Wi-Fi. Then in the campus or hub sites, we are having CSG 1300, where you can get up to 6 Gbps throughput, or this as you have the requirement, the device can be upgraded, or for the DC unit also up to the 500 Gbps, this 8000 series we are having. And this is all the boxes, all the CSG appliances having the integrated LTE, Wi-Fi, or this BLE or DSL or TVN option. Even we realize, even with respect to the connectivity on the transport side, customer having some serial port and also that can be accommodated with this Versa brand solution. Then in the same software, you can enable like SD-WAN feature or NGFW or UTM or UCP also. So UCP means you can spin up the third party VM and you can do some traffic steering as well. Yeah. Over to you, Abhishek. I think.
Yeah, thanks. So this is just the crux of the, I'm sorry, with the interest of time, I will try to just give very high level. This is the summary of the overall solution, as we mentioned, right, for the VS, for our secure access solution to the SD-WAN. The benefit what we can provide in our overall solution offering. With the interest of time, I'm sorry, skipping this, but I would just like to cover maybe a couple of case studies so that it gives you better view about our solution, how we have been able to support some of the largest accounts in the country or globally. So Infosys is one of the IT/ITES account, as we all know. The important use case what they gave it was 2 years back. They asked us, they are looking for a solution who can a partner who can support them in their journey from migration to their MPLS based WAN infrastructure to DIA based infrastructure, and this is spread across 55 plus countries, and with ensuring that GDPR policies are not compromised, and also since we are talking about the DIA, the security also has to be was paramount. Now, if you from the challenges what we saw, the first was their existing infrastructure was completely on Cisco based routing devices. Plus, from the security perspective, they have the network firewalls, which were spread across just not one vendor, but likes of Palo Alto, Fortinet, or Checkpoint, depending on the project requirements or the locations. So obviously, they had the and the throughputs were north of 1 Gbps even for the branch locations, and for all the hub sites, they have to maintain the GDPR compliance. They have 6 hub locations globally to ensure that the data traffic should not go beyond the defined geography. So, and those locations, they have 5 Gbps plus throughput requirement for all the locations. And obviously the micro segmentation to ensure that to ensuring that all these multiple projects or different user groups what they have in the global network, their policies and change management configuration can be centrally managed. So that's how with our multi-tenant story, we were able to ensure that micro segmentation story is being covered up. We with our secure SD-WAN capability, we were able to reduce their hardware footprint as well from one Cisco router and one firewall device to one single software defined hardware platform, which is deployed on a x86 based hardware platform, which in this case they chose Dell hardware for all their global locations. So and another one, other use case which they gave later stage to us, last year end is because of their multi-cloud strategy, they wanted to ensure that they have automation in whenever they have to migrate for certain workloads from one public cloud to another public cloud, the change management has to be seamless. So Versa director or Versa policy enforcers is the common policy enforcer for irrespective of the workloads residing on AWS, Azure, or GCP clouds. And all the configuration change management is centralized for all these applications. So any time they have to migrate any workloads, Versa infrastructure helps them to seamlessly migrating these particular workload. So this is these are certain use cases which we have solved for Infosys. ICICI Bank also was one of the first commercial bank in the country who deployed SD-WAN solution very for some of the very large branch network, and we were one of the selected OEMs for ICICI Bank branch deployment specifically, wherein they again they wanted to reduce their dependability on at least from the secondary PLS circuits to the low-cost internet circuits, wherein almost for 2,000 plus branches, they migrated from secondary MPLS circuit to to the broadband network, and still ensuring the application SLAs and are being maintained. Plus, for certain locations, for certain regional offices, they also wanted the local DIA, wherein the security was another important piece which they wanted to, the solution should have capability of having firewall and all the required security posture to allow the direct internet access, without compromising on the monitoring and security compliance checks for this solution. So this is from the financial sector perspective. So that's how we were able to suffice the challenge. Madhur, if you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
That's it from my side. Over to you, Madhur. Sorry, I think we took a little bit longer since we had 2 hours, so we also took leverage of that. But with the interest of time, now you can please start with it.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks, Deepak. It was a lovely session. So from here, quickly, we'll do a poll. There are a couple of poll questions I have. Maybe 30 to 40 seconds I'll give on each the poll question, and we'll see how exactly the audiences are talking about. So, yeah, can you see the first question? So it's, are you currently using a traditional network like MPLS or multiple vendor-based solutions for security, WAN routing, optimization, switch from different OEMs? So maybe 10 more seconds, and then I'll publish the results. Couple of more seconds. Okay. So, as expected, 83% of the audiences, are saying they are using the traditional network, or they are into a multi-OEM or multi-vendor setup. So this is pretty much, as expected, because most of the customers we are interacting are also using the similar solution, and our objective is using SD-WAN technology. How can we reduce to a single vendor scenario and move from a traditional to a latest technology, which is SD-WAN. Okay, so I'll go with my second question. And that's, are you planning any SD-WAN deployment in next 3 months? It's a simple, straightforward question which I'm asking that will give some idea how exactly the participants are thinking, from a cost saving perspective. So we'll wait for some 5 to 10, maybe 15 more seconds. Let's see how exactly the participants will act upon. Maybe next 3 more seconds. Okay, so if you see almost 50% are the poll results, and this is pretty much expected because in the current situation, we are talking to our customers, and this is the same trend what we are getting. So the thing what we really wanted to understand how exactly Spectra and Versa together can help you in reaching out to your objectives. So definitely that's something is desirable as well from our side too. So thanks for the polling. So now moving ahead, we'll take questions. There are few questions on the Q&A which Deepak has already answered. There are few questions which I have received on the chat as well. So as we move on, we'll take those questions first which are there on the chat, and maybe if there are further questions which will comment on the Q&A or chat, we'll take on one-on-one basis. Maybe we keep ourselves for next 10 minutes for the questions, and we'll try to answer as many as we can do it in next 10 minutes. And then accordingly, we'll take the discussion forward. So Abhishek and Versa team, the first question I got it is like, how much percentage of cost reduction we can expect from SD-WAN, or specifically if we talk about Versa solution?
Absolutely. So that's a great question, since that was the agent of the today's discussion also. So we see it varies anywhere from 30% to 70%. In an existing versus from an existing legacy infrastructure versus a new SD-WAN network. And why this is 30 to 70% is it all depends on what all network pieces you are touching. So one is, definitely the use case, of internet circuits, effective utilization. So you can migrate from, expensive internet circuits to low cost internet circuits. That's a very big cost, which you can reduce. And the larger the network, obviously, the cost reduction, the percentage of cost reduction will be even higher. The second important piece, the number of network security devices you are planning to migrate from hardware-defined branch to a software-defined branch. So, for example, you have a router, switch, firewall, UTM devices, Wi-Fi. 4 different devices. Typically, what we see average, between 3 to 7, I will say, and 4 is average. For any branch, what we typically see. So, if you want to migrate all these 4 devices to maybe 1 or 2 devices, obviously the straightforward answer comes, easily you can reduce by half, of your spending on the branch WAN infrastructure. Yeah.
Thanks, Abhishek. And it reminds me, we have also one of the customer who is also, has told us there's a reduction of around 40% of the cost, saving on the entire infrastructure. So I guess, yeah, 40 to 50%, if I would say as a number, that should go in terms of the cost saving.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So it's we have seen even up to 70% also, and even we have seen 30% as well. So anywhere between 30 to 70, it varies, as I mentioned, depending on the use cases we are trying to solve for the customers.
Excellent. Okay, so there's a next question on the chat window is, can you help us on explaining multi-tenancy in this setup?
Yeah, absolutely. I think though I explained that, but I can explain it again. Let me take a example again. Maybe the same banking example. For example, ICICI Bank. This was another story which they wanted us to solve, the micro-segmentation use case. They have multiple tenants within their organization, or multiple user group company, multiple group companies. ICICI Bank is a core banking. Then they had their ATM. Then they had their ICICI Prudential as their insurance arm. Then they have ICICI Lombard, another insurance arm. Then they have ICICI Securities, which is their trading company, and so these are 4 different basically companies which are running in the same network, but or maybe within the group company, I will rather say. Now, what happens is they also have, if you go from the branch perspective, also they have other networks also running, which is might be like branch ATM, which has been outsourced from management perspective to a third-party company, a branch ATM or any ATM network, even remote ATM network also. And there is also e-surveillance network, which is basically they outsource to some certain security companies who are managing their surveillance for their branch from the branch security perspective. So these are the typical tenants or the typical networks what they were trying to bring it in a single infrastructure on a single group IT infrastructure team. But at the same time, the management perspective, they wanted to ensure that each of the tenants should have their own management and security team, and from the manager perspective. And as we know, all these are group companies, but their requirement from the control plane perspective, from the topology perspective, is totally different. And from the data plane perspective also, obviously, even though they were sitting in a single branch, the SASE Prudential guys selling insurance and core banking guys doing their regular banking work, and maybe there is a ATM network which requires there is no user per se, but these are basically customers who are walking in and trying to browse the or access the ATM network totally, and there is a surveillance. So, but these are 4 different data plane traffic, which they wanted to ensure each of the users should not be able to see what is happening with the what is the other user group doing in the network. So these are totally silo data plane networks, control plane perspective, and even from the management perspective. So what Versa brings from a multi-tenancy perspective is you can create tenants, as many as tenants, almost, if I'm not wrong, 512 odd tenants, depending on the resources you provide, and you can scale out. So, for example, this bank has created 5 different tenants. I'm giving a very high level. Maybe I might be wrong, but I'm just giving an example. So 4 or 5 different tenants, and each tenant has their own different management team and security team. For example, core banking has a networking team separate, and SOC team manages the security policies. From the control plane perspective, core banking had the spoke hub spoke topology, and ATM network had the hub spoke topology. ICICI Prudential wanted for their voice video applications, they wanted full mesh topology. Now from the data plane, as I mentioned again, these are 4 different. So all these are running in a single physical infrastructure network, and also ensuring the same internet circuits are utilized. And from the management perspective, this is all in a single dashboard, but with the isolated access for each of the tenant groups in the company.
Excellent. So I personally like the next question, because here there's the use case which has been given to us. It's like, how does the solution help us on the current investment already done by us? Like, we have already deployed few Fortinet firewalls which are going to end of support maybe in the next couple of years. Can we still use Versa security as well as Fortinet security appliance together in the environment? And how easy it would be to manage both the firewalls?
Yes, absolutely. This is a very great question, in fact, because Versa definitely believes in securing the investments done by the customers. So the most important piece is Versa supports any kind of service chaining required. So, for example, and also the pay as you grow, or even from the solution perspective as well. Now, for example, for certain branches, you have already deployed Fortinet firewalls, and you want to migrate you just want to utilize their firewall, next generation firewall capability. But from the SD-WAN or routing perspective, you want to adopt Versa. So what we can do is we can still do the service chaining with Fortinet, and we will sit in front of the network in the beginning, and your circuits get terminated on Versa device, and Versa has the intelligence of checking, okay, which traffic has to go through Fortinet firewall, or even if you have another third party WAN optimization box also deployed. So accordingly, we take the decision okay, this traffic should go to the NG for the Fortinet firewall, and this particular traffic should go to this one. So all the service chaining decisions can be taken by Versa solution. This is one solution. Now, second thing is tomorrow after 2 years, if Fortinet you want to come out of Fortinet, only thing is you have to come out of you have to remove the box and enable the Versa security features on the same hardware. So it's only thing what you have to ensure is the hardware sizing should be done in keeping in mind that what kind of throughput you are expecting. After once you remove the Fortinet firewall, because there will be certain CPU utilization, resource utilization will happen on the same hardware. So if the sizing is correct, the only thing what you need is just remove the plug of the Fortinet and enable the features whatever you are looking from the next generation firewall perspective. This is the other option. Third option we also have support, which is something very unique to Versa, which is universal CPE. I didn't speak about it, but to protect your decisions or investment, what you have done, for the other third-party solutions. For example, like you said, Fortinet or Palo Alto or Checkpoint, whatever you have invested in from the security perspective, any major key player in the security, or maybe for WAN optimization. So what Versa also supports is UCP concept. What does it mean is, since we work in any x86-based platform, Versa operating system can also act as a hypervisor layer on top of this x86-based hardware. And you can deploy multiple virtual network functions, like, for Versa, you want to continue with SD-WAN, and for Fortinet, you want to deploy VNF, for the next generation firewall perspective. And again, on the same hardware, you want to deploy, Riverbed as a, your WAN optimization solution. But these three different VNFs are actually running on the same physical hardware. So what Versa does is, we do the service chaining of these multiple VNFs running on the single hardware. Plus, from the management perspective, we do the API call with their orchestrators, and all the three different dashboards will be visible in single UI of Versa Director. So from the change management to the from the service chaining to the lifecycle management, end-to-end can be maintained by Versa from a single dashboard. And also from the resource perspective, you are not investing on three different hardware at the branch, but in a single hardware, you can manage three different VNFs. Only thing is your sizing has to be managed, since you are running multiple VNFs on this one. But you still reduce your cost of cost of ownership from the hardware perspective, plus from the the power supply or a lot of other components you bring it on. So these are the different ways we can protect your investment, what you have already done in other solutions.
Excellent, Abhishek. Thanks. There's a follow-up question as well. How your solution work when we have one or two lossy links?
Sure. So Deepak, would you like to take this question? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So in case of this low ceilings, like we are having the capability, one capability we are having FEC. So what we usually do, let's say some packet drop. So to recover those packets, we are having the function to enable the FEC. So what would be happen? Let's say some communication happening between two user or between two branch, and out of let's say 0 to 10 packets, some 5 or 6 packet get lost. But we usually randomly we send some kind of FEC packet which usually help to recover it. Second, we are having some we called SD-WAN policies. So where we can define some kind of SLA. If any packet drop, let's say 2%, 5%, 10%, automatically it will take the decision. It will like switch over the traffic from lossy link to the healthy link. Or again, if it get recover in a better state, again it will revert to the traffic. Apart from that lossy link, we also capture this latency or jitter also. If any link having the latency, same kind of action we can take on that also. In case of jitter also. So this kind of functionality we are having.
Thanks, Deepak. Maybe because of the scarcity of time, let's take the last question which have come. There are a couple of more, but those are linked to the previous questions answered, or maybe we can take them one-on-one. This is the last question of for today. It's like your solution support packet-based routing or flow-based routing. Few vendors in the market only support flow-based routing, and few others support packet-based routing. So basically, there's a comparison which is there right now. So we need to address how exactly the solution, SD-WAN solution from Versa, it's supporting a solutions, a packet-based routing versus a flow-based routing. Maybe Deepak or Abhishek, if you can.
Sure. Let me. So we support like both kind of this. I would say this load balancing kind of packet in the. It can be packet based or it can be flow based. Apart from these are the like very common feature in traditional load. We are also having those features. Apart from that, we are having application based approach also. That means if you want to be do, let's say Facebook, let's use some broadband or some critical applications. Let's say some SAP or some banking application. So this kind of segmentation or some traffic steering with respect to application also we can achieve.
Okay, Deepak, thanks. I guess that answered the question. Maybe we can reach out to the person on a one-on-one basis. So that actually brings us towards the end of the webinar, and I really thank you, Deepak, Abhishek, for your presence over here, and I really appreciate the time of everyone who are present from the participant side. And I hope all of you had a great learning today. For any further questions, you can write us back to solutions@spectra.co. And moreover, we'll also update the recording of this webinar on the Spectra and Versa channels, and we'll share the link over email as well. Once again, I thank you, all of you, and I thanks Versa team as well. And from the entire Spectra and Versa team, I thank all of the participants over here.
Thanks once again, Madhur. Stay safe.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone once again, and stay safe. Have a great day ahead. So we'll be stopping this webinar now, and appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.